Right now, there are over 100,000 documented complaints sitting inside a federal database. Truck owners across America describe the same terrifying experience. They are cruising down the highway in their brand new F-150 or Silverado, and the truck shudders hard, like it is about to tear itself apart. Then comes the hard clunk, then the lurch, then a $6,000 repair bill. When they bring it to the dealer, they are told the same thing every single time. That's normal. That's how this transmission operates. 100,000 people all getting the same script. Because Ford and General Motors built a time bomb into every truck they have sold since 2017. They called it a performance upgrade. They put it in their most expensive vehicles. And they have known, for years, exactly what it does. Today I'm going to show you exactly which trucks are affected, why the transmission is destroying itself by design, and the one document inside the federal database that proves both companies knew about it before a single truck left the factory floor. To understand why this transmission is failing, you have to understand why it was built in the first place, and it has nothing to do with making your truck better. In 2012, the federal government tightened corporate average fuel economy standards. Every automaker now had to hit a fleet-wide average of 54.5 miles per gallon by 2025 or face massive fines. For truck manufacturers, this was a crisis. A full-size pickup truck with a V8 gets maybe 17 miles per gallon on a good day. You cannot squeeze that number up to 54 miles per gallon through engine improvements alone. So Ford and General Motors went to their transmission engineers and gave them one directive: find gear ratios that let the engine loaf at the lowest possible revolutions per minute at highway speed. The lower the revolutions per minute, the lower the fuel consumption, and the better the corporate average fuel economy number looks on paper. The engineers delivered. In 2017, Ford and General Motors jointly released what they called the 10R80, a 10-speed automatic transmission. 10 gears instead of the traditional 6. The marketing was loud. More gears means smoother power delivery, more efficiency, better performance. 10 gears crammed into a gearbox designed to fit inside an existing truck tunnel means that each individual gear band is narrower. The clutch packs are smaller. The hydraulic pressure margins are tighter. And to hit the fuel economy targets, the transmission control module was programmed to hunt aggressively between gears, constantly searching for the tallest gear possible to keep revolutions per minute down. You built a transmission that is always shifting, in a box that was never designed to shift that often under load, in a 6,000-pound truck. That is not an engineering achievement. That is a ticking clock. The shudder starts first. Most owners notice it between 40 and 50 miles per hour. The truck vibrates through the seat and through the steering wheel. It is a low-frequency shaking that feels like driving over rumble strips on perfectly smooth asphalt. What is happening inside the transmission is a phenomenon called torque converter clutch shudder. The torque converter, the fluid coupling between the engine and the transmission, has a lockup clutch inside it. When that clutch engages at low speeds to improve fuel economy, the friction material on the clutch plates starts to slip in a pattern instead of locking cleanly. The truck shakes because the clutch is literally stuttering. In a transmission with 6 gears and wider clutch engagement windows, this would be manageable. In a transmission hunting between 10 narrow gears while trying to maximize fuel economy at all times, the torque converter clutch is engaging and partially releasing dozens of times per mile. The friction material wears, then it glazes, then it starts shedding debris into the transmission fluid. From there, the cascade begins. The contaminated fluid moves through the valve body, the hydraulic brain of the transmission. The fine metal particles from the worn clutch plate get into the solenoids. The solenoids start sticking. Now the transmission is not just shuddering, it is shifting hard, lurching between gears. Sometimes it hesitates, holds a gear too long, then slams into the next one. Every owner who has been through this describes the same progression. A shudder at highway speed, then rough shifts, then the truck starts jerking at low speed, then the check engine light, then the dealer visit, then the argument about whether it is within spec, then the second dealer visit, then the third. And this is where the story stops being about engineering and starts being about something else entirely. When the shutter complaints started rolling in after the 2017 model year launch, Ford and GM did not issue a recall. They issued what is called a Technical Service Bulletin, ATSB. Here is what a Technical Service Bulletin is and is not. It is not a recall. A recall is mandatory. A recall is public. A recall requires the manufacturer to fix the problem at no cost to you and notify every registered owner by mail. A TSB is an internal service document sent only to dealership technicians. It tells them how to handle a specific complaint. There is no consumer notification. There is no mandatory repair. There is no reimbursement if you already paid to fix it yourself. Ford's TSB for the 10R80 shutter instructed dealers to perform a transmission fluid exchange using a specific updated fluid, Motorcraft Mercon ULV. That is it. A fluid change. For a mechanically failing torque converter clutch, on a truck that can cost $70,000 off the lot. For some owners, the fluid change helped temporarily. For most, it bought 3 to 6 months before the shutter returned worse than before. The fluid was never the problem. The friction material was already degraded. The solenoids were already contaminated. The fluid change was a reset on a machine that needed a redesign. Meanwhile, the complaints kept building inside NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the federal agency responsible for vehicle safety. As of today, that database contains over 100,000 complaints specifically about the 10R80 transmission in Ford F-150, Ford Expedition, Ford Mustang, Chevrolet Silverado, and GMC Sierra applications. 100,000 people filed formal federal complaints. NHTSA opened a preliminary investigation, and then, in 2021, they closed it without requiring a recall. Their conclusion was that the shutter was a drivability concern rather than a safety defect. A transmission that lurches, jerks, and slams between gears in a 6,000-pound truck doing 70 miles per hour on the interstate is a drivability concern, not a safety issue. File that one away. So what do you actually do if you own one of these trucks, or if you are about to buy one? First, if you own a 2017 or newer F-150, Expedition, Mustang, Silverado, or Sierra with a 10-speed, go to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website, safercar.gov, and file a complaint right now. This is free. It takes 10 minutes. And it matters. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's threshold for upgrading an investigation to a full recall inquiry is driven heavily by complaint volume. Every complaint you file is a vote for a mandatory fix at the manufacturer's expense instead of yours. Second, if you have already experienced the shutter and a dealer performed a fluid exchange that did not permanently resolve it, you have standing to demand a transmission replacement under your warranty, not a fluid service. Document every visit, get everything in writing. Say to the service writer, "I am documenting this visit for a potential lemon law claim." In most states, 3 failed repair attempts for the same defect trigger lemon law protection, and both Ford and GM know this. Third, and this is where you take back the power completely, if you are in the market for a truck right now, there is a specific window of model years to target that predates the 10-speed entirely. 2014 to 2016 F-150 with the 6R80 6-speed transmission. This is the last generation Ford truck before the 10-speed era. The 6R80 is a proven, robust unit. Parts are everywhere. Rebuild kits are inexpensive. Transmission shops know this unit inside and out. You can find a low-mileage 2015 F-150 for $18,000 to $22,000 on the private market. On the GM side, from 2014 to 2018, Silverado and Sierra with the 6L80 6-speed transmission. Same story. 6-speed, well understood, no hunting behavior, no torque converter shutter epidemic. Private sellers are asking $15,000 to $20,000. You are getting a full-size truck with a proven drivetrain for less than half the price of a new one. Meanwhile, the new truck owner is on a third dealer visit, arguing about whether their $65,000 purchase is behaving within spec. Here are the exact vehicles to avoid and the exact alternatives to target. Avoid 10-speed 10R80 and 10L80 applications from 2017 and newer F-150 with any engine, 2018 and newer Expedition, 2018 and newer Mustang GT with automatic transmission, 2019 and newer Silverado 1500, 2019 and newer Sierra 1500. Target instead, last generation 6 speeds. 2011 to 2016 F-150 with the 5.0 V8 or 3.5 EcoBoost and the 6R80 transmission. Verify the transmission code on the door jamb sticker. It will read 6R80. 2014 to 2018 Silverado 1500 or Sierra 1500 with the 5.3 V8 and the 6L80 transmission. Avoid the 8-speed 8L90 that appeared in some higher trim models. It has its own documented issues. Stick to the 6L80. One free tool before you buy anything: pull the VIN at safercar.gov and search it in NHTSA complaint database. If the transmission code on that specific truck has 5 or more complaints in the database, walk away. Somebody already knows something you do not. Ford and GM built a transmission that cannot survive the conditions it was designed for, buried the complaint pattern inside a technical service bulletin, watched 100,000 owners pay out of pocket for repairs, and convinced a federal agency that none of it was a safety issue. That is not a mechanical failure. That is a business decision. If this saved you from a $6,000 mistake, hit subscribe. Every week I pull apart the engineering scams and financial traps that the dealership, the manufacturer, and the government agency that's supposed to protect you have all agreed to call normal. The transmission is just one grenade. The truck you're sitting in right now may be carrying several more.